Hello and welcome to this skating lesson. My name is Dave Leese, and today I'm coming to you in response to a number of emails, direct messages, tweets, Twitter direct messages, and so on and so forth that I'm getting about the status of the upcoming World Figure Skating Championships and whether or not I have heard anything about whether or not they will be canceled. And I do not have any specific information, but I have compiled the latest articles and the latest information about it to put together in one video. And at the end, I'll kind of give my opinion and what I believe the options are. So earlier today, Quebec Health Minister Danielle McCann said the government in Quebec is evaluating whether to allow the World Figure Skating Championships to go ahead next week in Montreal. Her comments Monday came after the International Ice Hockey Federation on Saturday canceled the Women's World Hockey Championship scheduled to take place in Nova Scotia from March 31st to April 10th because of the spread of the coronavirus. Hockey Canada said Nova Scotia health officials recommend the event not be held at the scheduled time in a letter to the sport's governing body. McCann said provincial public health and public security officials are involved in the analysis of the March 16th to 22nd figure skating event with input from the Public Health Agency of Canada. She says canceling the competition has not been ruled out and a decision will be made as quickly as possible. We have to do a case-by-case analysis of the events, but we are aware that we need to make a decision rapidly concerning the figure skating event. What I want to say is that a decision needs to be taken as quickly as possible, McCann said. In a statement Monday, Skate Canada said the event is scheduled to take place as planned. As the situation is changing quickly, we continue to monitor new developments of the evolution of COVID-19 in cooperation with the ISU and will follow the recommendations provided by the World Health Organization and the Public Health Agency of Canada, the statement said. Figure skaters still are preparing as if the event will go on. Canadian Kirsten Moore-Towers, who's in the pairs competition with Michael Marinaro, said that she's not worried about a possible cancellation. Of course, we've seen that other events are being canceled, but honestly, we really enjoyed training and we enjoyed training these programs. So regardless, we would be devastated, of course, if the event got canceled. But we do trust the people that make these decisions, and we know that they make the decision that's best for us. Of course, we wouldn't want anyone's health to be at risk for us to compete in a figure skating competition. So if the extreme was that had to happen, we would understand, but we don't foresee that happening. Event organizers continue to make plans as well. Acts for the March 18th opening ceremony were announced Monday. The other major Winter World Championships event in Canada also remains on schedule for now. The Women's World Curling Championship is slated to start on Saturday in Prince George, British Columbia. A World Rugby Sevens event went on a schedule this past weekend in Vancouver. Sports events around the world have been affected by the coronavirus. On Monday, the Italian Olympic Committee suspended all sports in the country through April 3rd. Less than 24 hours earlier, the BNP Paribas Open, considered one of the top tennis tournaments outside of the Grand Slams, was canceled in Indian Wells, California. And that is a huge tennis event. I did want to put the event into perspective. Figure skater Valentina Marquez shared something on her Facebook, and it's about the coronavirus alert, and she advised people to share it, so I feel comfortable sharing it here. She wrote her own post about it. It looks like something that is being shared throughout Italy. Valentina lives in Milano. She is in the area of the country that was under quarantine as of this morning, although now the entire country is under that, and there is speculation that North America is within 2 weeks behind Italy of the transmission of the virus, roughly. This is what it says. It says, coronavirus alert. It's bad for real. To all the friends abroad that are asking how bad is the situation. I live in the Milan area, which is one of the red zones of Italy. Since 2 days ago, the government closed our region along with a few others. That means you can't get out of it, you can't travel, you can get back in, but no exit allowed if for emergencies or work, and also to travel internally is allowed if it's really mandatory. Most of the companies have their people working from home. Aggregation and contact with other people is asked to be avoided, and if it's not possible, it's asked to keep a distance of 1 meter at least. All schools are closed in all of Italy since 3 weeks and will be closed until the 3rd of April for now. Lessons are taken online from primary school to university. This is not a common thing for us. Bars and restaurants are open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Distance between tables and people have to be 1 meter, and everyone has to sit, and you're not allowed to drink or eat standing at the bar table. Supermarkets and shops are allowed to be open, but only 15 to 20 people at a time maximum, depending on how big the store is. This can cause waiting lines outside, a bit risky if the meter distance is not respected by everyone. Most of the people, in fact, get their food delivered at home. We can go out. We are not obliged to stay home, but the virus spreads through coughing and sneezing. It's important to wash your hands often and do not touch your face, nose, eyes, because these are the most common ways to get infected. It's important to stay home. Elderly people are the most at risk. It's recommended to help them with groceries and daily needs, but to spend less time possible to not put them in the situation to get infected. The virus is very invasive on them. But we have had cases on younger people as well, so the less we go around, the better it is. Cases positive of the coronavirus keep raising daily, and although our healthcare system is free and one of the best in the world, there are not enough beds and resources to face the emergency, so we risk to get to the point where the hospitals will have to choose who to help, because they will not be able to keep up with the number of cases, and that will really be a disaster. The life of each one of us is equally important. Nobody is immune. We are not superheroes. We can be the vehicle of the virus too. On the other hand, being home is the chance to enjoy family, do things we never have time to do, studying, reading, cooking, appreciating the little things, and the normality. And then she says, be strong, Italy. Every message from support from all of you around the world is appreciated in such a surreal time. Let's support each other. Please, world, be safe out there and share around. Well, I did want to just put this into perspective. It's important to note that many of the athletes are actually already in Canada and in North America training over the last 2 weeks. In fact, many of the Italian figure skaters already arrived due to the kind of impending embargo that is happening of the quarantine. One thing to note is that it's not just the athletes. Obviously, the athletes have to be kept safe, and that's extremely important. But as she was saying, the lives of everyone are equally important. That does include officials. That includes volunteers. That includes all of the fans that are attending the Bell Center. The Bell Center has a capacity of 21,302 people. If you think about that, those are 21,302 people that are going to be in public transportation. They're going to be in restaurants. They're going to be in hotels. They're going to be flying on airplanes in confined spaces from all over the world. Seeing as how this is a very international sport, there are going to be fans coming in from all over. And we don't know who the carriers could be at that moment in time. When you think about it, within the last several days, New York, the state of New York went into a state of emergency. New Jersey has just followed for all the tri-state area. And it does seem to be spreading in different states throughout the United States and spreading in Canada as well. So there is reason to be concerned. If you think about the World Championships, 6-7 days from now might not be, but by the end of the championships could be a much different story. Given the spread of the virus. One of the most important things is that although the number of cases may be low, there also aren't a lot of people that are able to be tested. A lot of those materials for the testing are coming from China, and there are travel restrictions at this time. So that's really all the information I have, but I do want to say that I do think that the World Championships will likely have to be canceled. The other option, if they are to go on, is that it could always be an event that is held without members of the public. In that case, there would have to be enough tests to go around, and maybe the athletes could be tested and still compete. But I think at that point, if the public health concern is enough, I do think that having a World Championships where athletes would presumably have to be tested, I think there would be a much better use for resources. than to be holding at a skating competition, and it would seem perhaps rather silly. There's been different discussion online about whether or not refunds would be possible, and I think certainly an unforeseen circumstance. I don't think that there's any way that they wouldn't wind up refunding money in this situation, even if it hasn't been explicitly stated. I certainly don't think that that would be appropriate for anyone, and I think most people would agree that there would have to be an unforeseen kind of exception to this if it is unable to be held. It was supposed to be an event with everyone from the Olympic team, other than Gabby Daleman, supposed to be in the opening of the World Figure Skating Championships, music by Eric Radford. Kurt Browning and Elvis Stoico and Joanie Rochette also be skating there. So I think everyone hopes that there would be a way to see the event go on. Jeff Buttle, involved in the production of that show. It doesn't look super likely, though, at this time, based on just the speed of which this is happening. There are schools in New York State that are now closed until the end of the month as well. So it does seem to be a situation that is really progressing rapidly, including public precautions. So it does seem unlikely, at least on this end, for that to happen. But I mean, what do you think? Do you think people are just panicking, or do you think the World Championships will likely be canceled? And if that happens, when can the ISU hold the event? What will they do as far as world rankings, as far as spots for next World Championships? Will they just keep the results from last year's World Championships, the same number of spot per country? There was talk about speed skating perhaps holding an event in October. Unfortunately for figure skating, that's so far into the next season that might not be beneficial for figure skaters. In this situation, it might just be a wash, which is certainly something that's unfortunate for everyone, as the World Championships are almost a celebration of the sport as much as they are just a competition. I think it's really a time that I think everyone just enjoys coming together for skating, celebrating skating, and certainly excited to have it in Montreal. So it certainly be unfortunate if that does happen, but I think the greater health and the greater good of people around is certainly more important. So leave your comments below. I'm curious what everyone thinks. Thanks so much. Have a great Monday. Bye now.